In this Part 2 movie, you animate a character's head to speak the Dirty Harry famous words, "Go ahead, make my day." To load the spoken phrase, go to the curve editor. Select the soundtrack and then right-click it and choose Properties. In the dialog that appears, add the WAV file you downloaded for this lesson, gammd.wave. Play back the file if you wish. Go ahead. Make my day. More importantly, notice its length, about 5 seconds or 150 frames. Set the animation length to 150 frames accordingly. Close the dialog when done. Expand the soundtrack and the GAMMD wave track. Select the waveform track and adjust the zoom factors to display the waveform plainly in the curve editor. If you wish, you can even dock the curve editor to the bottom of the screen by right-clicking its title bar. At any time, you can make it a floater again. As you scrub through the animation, you can hear where the words fall within the waveform. Go ahead. Make my day. However, before you attempt to synchronize morphing with the waveform, you need to translate the words into phonemes. Remember that phonemes are all about sounds, not letters. Once you have the translation done, you can begin the morphing process. Note that in this case, you only need 7 phonemes out of the 16 available: GK, O, A, D, M, and E. Select the base head, and in the modifier panel, apply a morpher modifier to the stack. In the channel parameters rollout, you can pick any morph target that shares the same number of vertices, in this case any of the other heads in the scene. Alternatively, you can use the Load Multiple Targets option and choose the phonemes you identified as needed. From that point on, it is a question of animating the channel percentages so that they synchronize with the sound file. For this kind of work, it is often best to use the set key animation method. This way, when you create a key for a phoneme track, you create a key for all phoneme tracks, even when the value of a given track is 0. This makes it easier to control interpolation between keyframes. At the bottom of the screen, choose Key Filters. You are only interested in animating the morpher modifier parameters, so disable all options and enable modifiers. Enable Set Key Mode. You are now ready to animate the morph channels. Notice that the spoken phrase only seems to start around frame 30, so go to frame 25 and click the Set Keys button. This ensures that the face remains constant from 0 to 25. Go to frame 30. This is where the G phoneme kicks in. Set the G channel to about 80% and click Set Keys. Alternatively, you can press K to add a keyframe. Feel free to experiment with other percentage values if you so wish. Next, go to frame 34. Decrease the G phoneme and increase the O phoneme and set a key. At about frame 37, decrease G and O and increase the A in ahead and set a key. Always refer back to the phoneme chart and compare it to the waveform track. At frame 44, use the E as in head phoneme predominantly and set a key. At frame 54, use the D phoneme and set a key. At frame 64, reduce most of the phonemes to mark a pause. Play with the percentages to get a look that you like. Remember that no channel has to be used necessarily to its extent, 0% or 100%. At frame 76, set another neutral key to ensure not much is happening during the pause between the two sentences. At frame 82, use the M phoneme and set a key. At frame 87, use the E phoneme that precedes the K sound in make. Make. Set a key. At frame 90, use the K phoneme and set a key. At frame 93, use the M phoneme again and set a key. At frame 95, use the A phoneme and set a key. At frame 97, use the E phoneme as the last sound in the word my, set a key. At frame 102, use the D phoneme again and set a key. At frame 105, use E again as in day and set a key. At frame 112, finish the word day by using the E phoneme and set a key, day. At frame 117, bring back the face to a relatively neutral pause and set a key. At around frame 140, or towards the end of the animation, zero out all channels and set a key to go back to the original base face. Scrub the animation slider bar to test the synchronization.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Notice that although the lower part of the face seems to be working well, the upper part is unnaturally still. Also, for a character boasting a phrase like that, he ought to look more threatening. You will achieve this by using expressions as part of a new morpher modifier. Although you can combine expressions and phonemes in the same modifier, sometimes separating the two gives you a bit more control over the animation. With a right click, rename the existing morpher modifier to morpher phonemes. Apply a new morpher modifier and rename it morpher expressions. Use the Load Multiple Targets feature to load up the two expressions, anger and blink. At frame 0, set the anger to about 50% and set a key. Scrub the animation and notice how the new expression sort of washed out your work from earlier. This is because the new morpher modifier sits atop of the stack and therefore evaluated last. With a click and drag, move the expression morpher below the phoneme morpher. This will still use the anger expression wherever you haven't applied the phoneme keyframe, making for a natural interpolation of movements for the eyebrows and forehead. Finally, you create a couple of eye blinks. Make sure the morpher expressions modifier is selected. Go to frame 16 and set a keyframe. Repeat the procedure at frame 20. This ensures that nothing is happening between these two keyframes. Go to frame 18 and set the blink percentage to 100% and set a key. Scrub the animation to see the results. If you wish, repeat the procedure around frame 70. Be careful not to create a blink where a phoneme is already keyframed. Since the phoneme is now evaluated after the blink, it will take precedence and nullify the blink. You can also copy a blink by selecting the three keyframes at 16, 18, and 20, and then shift slide them to another moment in time.
Go ahead. Make my day.
That's it. Experiment with the techniques shown here. Record your own famous quotes and use the phonemes and expressions supplied with this character to bring him to life.